The world doesn't really need any more reasons to love caravans and caravanning, but I've prepared them anyway. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, and I get new cars cheap for buyers here in Australia. Website for that, obviously. Or you could just click the card that's up there now, dude. Caravanning. In case you've spent the past few decades with your brain submerged in liquid nitrogen, caravanning is a serious mental defect. It's one of the worst afflictions a modern petro-sapien can suffer. Those who find themselves cursed by the big C, as it's known in med school, can be seen towing their overpriced, acoustically transparent aluminium containers of their own excrement behind enormous off-road wanking chariots somewhere out there on the road to Dingo Piss Creek. Never approach a caravanner in the wild. The condition is known to be highly contagious, and before you know it, you'll be stroking your friggin' ZZ Top beard and nodding sagely over your blue-singleted beer garden, making caravanning plans. That's how the first symptoms always appear, and by then, it's all friggin' over. In full-blown cases, the afflicted actually suffer from the delusion that caravanning is better than staying at the resort on Poontang Island, which is always knee-deep in poolside hotties. It's that serious. Which brings us to wrench-wielding Jeff. Jeff is a seasoned first responder to mechanical pants-pooping events of this nature, and he's also an occasional auto-expert informant. Of course, he's been inoculated against caravanning, so he's quite safe. Like, dude, he's had the jab. One of Jeff's recent patients is the owner of a 2012 V8 diesel 200 series wanking chariot, the best wanking chariot ever, which recently experienced an explosive trouser defecation event. 2 exhaust valves just cracked and fell out one day, leaving the sufferer and his acoustically transparent shitter stranded out there on the road to Dingo Piss Creek. Not only was the sufferer cursed by caravanning, he, and it's always a he in these cases, he had performance-tuned the mighty 200. It's always an entertaining idea. I can agree. You just roll the dice like that, and you let a dude with a website and a lap type loose down there. Let him stick it in via your OBD2 port. Hurts so good. Like, what could possibly go wrong? After all, you are driving an indestructible Outback assault vehicle. Might as well milk it for all it's worth. The factory's got no friggin' idea. As you can see, entertainingly, it's not funny, the exhaust valves have just broken off in that distinctively middle cylinder there, the one that's distinctly different. And then they've tumbled around for, I don't know, a few hundred revolutions, which, when you think about it, would have made a most distinctive sound. And just look at the remarkable, distressed look they've given the chamber, the bore, and the piston crown. Yes. Some would say, shot-peened. Oh, what a feeling. I really like it. I do. Some people would pay good money for that. Presumably the same people who would pay good money to have a stern chairman matron discipline them on the buttocks with a studded leather paddle. I mean, you flip the coin in this situation, don't you? Naughty or nice? And it always comes down naughty. I don't know how that works. Anyway, speaking of paying good money, you are looking at a $30,000 problem. Imagine the kind of, let's call it, holiday you could have on Poontang Island, splashing that kind of cash around. And I do mean splashing. Wrench-wielding Jeff says the valve springs were intact in this case, which means it's hard to see how the valves just broke. The usual mode of failure with this kind of thing is you break a spring or the valve retention system otherwise fails, and then the valves drop down and they get cleaned up by the piston, especially if it's an interference engine. So this report is, in some ways at least, a cry for help in part. Your help. So, over to you now. Have you ever seen this kind of failure in the mighty cruiser, the Land Cruiser 200, the 4.5 twin-turbo diesel? Virtually indestructible, although not in this case. If so, do let me know in the comments what happened in great detail. It would certainly help wrench-wielding Jeff, because he's currently just sitting there scratching his head on this one, vis-a-vis the cause. Like, he knows how to fix it, but how did it actually happen? And to you, I would say, if you find yourself lying awake in bed overnight, making a little teepee at the prospect of getting that new van and green-lighting that critical engine remap, my strong advice is, do it, dude. Like, do it now. You know you want this. The legendary Poontang Island there, El Dorado, only closer to the coast and made of hotties instead of gold. It's not actually on any map. I've looked. You have to know a guy who knows a guy. It's that kind of place. The first rule of Poontang Island, of course, is don't talk about Poontang Island. And now, as if the prospect of caravanning couldn't possibly get any better, I mean, after all, it is almost perfect, I got this recently from a dude named Ben, a loyal viewer. On a recent trip to a local caravan store, yes, I know, your worst nightmare, I couldn't help but suddenly think of you as I entered the aluminium shitter on wheels. Attached is a photo of the conveniently positioned toilet within easy arm's reach of the stovetop. So while your guests relax around the club lounge 1 metre away, you can take a dump while reaching around into the kitchen 40 centimetres away and stir whatever culinary delight you have simmering on the stove. A design marvel. This certainly piqued my interest, so let us all take a look, shall we? Dude, this is a thing of beauty and a joy to behold. I think you'd agree. But when you look more closely, I think you can see how the caravan industry just keeps getting the design details, like the nuance, completely wrong. This door is clearly hinged on the wrong side, thus demanding the, let's call him loosely, the chef, to rise and reach around occasionally, mid-dump, to attend the, let's call it, the meal. Far better, I think, and you can see this too, surely. I mean, it's not that hard. Far better to flip the shitter to the opposite wall of the water closet, shrink the water closet to about half of its current size, and build the stove module in as a drawer, roughly where the hand basin is now. You can see that working. Obviously, put a gasket around the drawer to keep the stove watertight when you're, splashing. This offers several clear ergonomic advantages, at least as far as I see it. Firstly, it frees up the space where the stove actually was, allowing the dining area to move closer to the shitter. That's critical. And for the chef, this means one can cook every meal far more comfortably from a seated position henceforth. And, think you'd agree, if there's one thing most caravanners need, it's more sit-down time. And when you need to shower, once every couple of weeks or so. Simply slide the stove into the closed position and then feel free to crack one off, sitting down comfortably while at the same time lathering up and rinsing. There's instructions on the wall out of the shot. Hashtag multitasking. Dude, people say men can't multitask. Au contraire. And before I let you go, just check out that door. Those premium materials. I think it's glass. Clear glass, probably laminated. I do hope so. To me, that's just an inspirational design concept right there. No matter whether you're cooking, cleaning, or crapping, there's no need anymore to feel isolated from your, let's call them, close companions.